Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me. I'm a man.
You know what? I talked to your mayor.
Police or zombie problems? Your tortoise won't stop breakdancing?
Try blue tape.
The miracle of our age. Yay!
Stomping the floppy shoes so hard, it'll lead to class delirious. You praying to stop so much, it's like you're having a religious experience. Despite all of your denials, I know that you know me and your crew. Ask your girl the last time she phoned me. Allegedly, just admit that even now you sing along. And even after I wreck you, you gotta bump my song. You should copyright loser because the dictionary cloned you. Crushed so hard, now my cleats own you. It's that umbrella guy, clutching the verbal hammer, locking you down in this inescapable syllable slammer. You wanna step up and try to oppose me? Yeah, you should ask anyone that really knows me. I'll take your blame, your girl, your dog, and move in your home, only to get out the verbal flamethrower and consume your plastic gnomes. You drift, you whip, you ride, your bride consumed by this mic hitter, just to drop them on the market to the highest bidder. It's that umbrella guy, live from the hat rack, with elbows that hit so hard you'll think it's a nuclear impact. I mean respecting you, please, that's a word you'll never earn. Yet another lesson you clowns have never learned. Along with standing tall in pride and repping values that you feel, and not fake morals you found inside your happy meal. I listen to you with your speak and spell education, wondering if your parents bred with their relations. Wearing your big red nose and still thinking that you're a star, while you're forced to bump that umbrella guy inside your clown car. Yeah, it's that umbrella guy, broadcasting live to the masses. Timing out full, sorry we ran out of free passes. We gotta go further and not just expose you. Listen and believe royalty, we gotta depose you. Getting masked up, because this flow is criminal. Dropping hammers so hard, they're subliminal. Unconsciously you want me to own you, as the parasol pope is set to dethrone you. And I'm out.
And I'm in, actually. How's it going, folks? Welcome today. You know what's going to be fun today? We're going to read over an interview. That's right, an interview with none other than LMNOP, talking to Volpe again. That's right. Yes, she did. In the in the items where she decided that she was going to go and target her lawyer, which would be Silverman, she also decided to talk about how terrible he did, like out of if we're talking a 1 to 10 scale, how well did Silverman do? She said a 3. Why? Well, we'll look at it and see. I mean, it's amazing stuff, though. Yes, we also last night, apparently John Cook was in over in the 2Ls and talking about how they just need more $6,000. And if you hook them up, they'll definitely pay you back. They'll pay you back after they win their first lawsuit. Oh my God. Fun times, baby. Fun times. They were talking smack about also their other lawyer, Sean. Yes, that's right. They were taking shots at him again too, saying, "Well, John Cook had some fun things to say, but yeah, they've been on a spree trying to take down their own lawyers." It's just a matter of time, Bruce, before they roll that around to you too, man. You do know that. I realize that this is probably some machination on your side for for them, but yeah. Now, one thing I want to note before all of that, though, just to throw this out there, is they're asking for, again, money. Like I mentioned this started last night, but they're asking for money for not just turtles, which they're asking for, but they're also asking for money for a lawyer, $6,000. That's right. They want another $6,000 thing. And apparently that didn't go over too well last night in the 2L chat. As you look through the transcript, their chat wasn't very thrilled with the idea. They were like, wait a minute, we've seen this before, and $6,000, wasn't that supposed to take care of 4 cases? Oh wait, it went to a bankruptcy. Why the hell should we give money again? But yes, they're asking for money. If you have not seen this, let me pull this up for you just to explain where wonderful things are. They're actually asking for $6,000 again. Here is, again, this was posted yesterday. Well, we have found an attorney. And again, we are going to need to raise the amount of $6,000. That's right. Now, again, remember they had $6,000, that total. It went to Jerome, who has done a terrible case, to the point that I really do think that he is filing that he may not be writing out the bankruptcy stuff. Again, Lynette can clarify this online if she chooses to, but it feels like she's writing them out. There was some writing, in fact, that looked like hers in the last document we went over. But yeah, $6,000 that was supposed to cover multiple lawyers. Instead, you get this. So now you get another one. They want $6,000. Any help would be a blessing. Contact me if you wish to help. Not me. That's just what they said up there. And they said there will be a PayPal pool that will be available soon, or Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Zelle. And we got a also. Why did we get a Don't know. But that's interesting too. We also, on top of that, fun times, we had some statements that came up. Now, some of these may be a little harder to read, but I'm going to think also, 1 second. I like that these are all in one place. So, Melissa, thank you for throwing these up there. I grabbed 3 of these myself, but I like them all in one place. I cannot zoom in on them, but I will read it to you. You can see there's John Cook at the bottom, and it says, "If you could help, I would greatly appreciate not having to go through 3 more years of a restraining order." So, they were talking last night. Again, they had the audacity to ask people to give more money to people they've called liars and frauds and thieves. On top of it, he said that a paid assassin couldn't have screwed me over as much as Sean Martin did. And he'll have his day in court too. So they're going to sue Silverman. They're going to sue Sean Martin. They're going to sue everybody, with no money. But they need somebody to give them money to do that, of course. And, well, look how well all of that has gone so far. Oh, you gotta love it, right? You do have to love it. It is pretty amazing. And my favorite here too, you see Bone Crusher being like, "Yeah, you know what? We're not giving any money. I mean, she screwed us over." It says over us, but and blamed us for her problems. So, screw her, essentially. We're not giving her anything, which is funny. But then you have John Cook under there being like, "But I would pay it back with my first lawsuit." They still have it in their head that they're going to make millions somehow. They really do. They think that they have protective orders against them. They have violations against them, but they're gonna make money. They're gonna make money. They've been their own worst enemies. But on top of that, too, just to throw this in, and then we're gonna look at that wonderful, wonderful interview. Talking about Silverman and throwing him under the bus from Lynette herself. We will go over the transcript with that. Man, hey, what's up, Liz? By the way, how you doing? I saw that roll through. Check this out, though. We have them also asking for money for the shell babies for the 501c3 that I'm not sure exists right now. I am kind of confused on it. So, maybe it exists, maybe it doesn't. But cold weather is here, and all our shell babies have their heaters going at night. Brr. They are tucked in nice, safe, and warm. By the way, my 501c3 is fine. It's active and nothing to worry about at all. Next, I'll redo the USDA form and we'll be legal and justified in taking donations like most all others do. Wait a minute. How is your 501c3 good if you don't have this stuff in where you can do everything? If you're not nice and legal, I don't believe that means that it's running correctly, right? I mean, that's the way that statement runs. But okay, I don't really understand that one. But all right, thank you for all of you who stand by us, who care about us, and who send us the little stars and the little things. Thank you very much. I'm telling you, it helps so much, especially in winter. It is so expensive to run those heaters at night. But someday I'm going to find a new way to heat, less expensive, hopefully solar. So, hey, buy us some solar panels. By the way, Lynette, solar is not as good as you might think. That would not be a good switch if you really did try that. It is much harder to do. The best thing I've ever heard of to run. Oh, wait, I got a raider real quick. Let me say hey. Hey, girl, what you doing, baby? Hey, how you doing?
Good.
You want to say hi?
Hi.
Yeah, yesterday we went and we were looking for Christmas, weren't we?
Yeah, and
we got what? What did we get?
We got a TV and some groceries.
And some groceries and a TV. Wait a minute, that didn't fit into the groceries.
No, on the TV after we got the groceries, but someone helped us get.
Yeah, they did have to help us get it out. It was heavy, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah,
she asked for two. What did you ask for? You asked for two things, really. Now, a TV, right? A bigger one so you could see it well, right?
And a refrigerator, because you don't know when people who have your stuff without there being a name on it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so yes, and her little refrigerator. That tells you that's been her things. She's asked for it. Bam, one of those two. That's weird, Liz. Well, let me buy memberships plus my name. Yeah, the name thing, I'll tell you about it in a minute when she goes back up. I'll tell you all about it. The name thing oh, well, are you out of here? Okay, well, she just left. All right. Thank you, by the way, Rick, and thank you also, Dwayne. She ran off. She was out the door. So, yes, you may have noticed that your name changed. This will come up periodically. That is the new attempt for YouTube to prevent any kind of fraud. Like if you go into my chat, for example, you would notice at one time there might be 30 or 40 different types of umbrella guys. And it didn't matter how many we banned or anything. We just We couldn't do anything about it. It didn't work. We banned links and everything else. Only mods can put up links, all kinds of stuff. But they'd still come in and they'd still scam. So the way that they're doing it, you can only have one assigned @. So you can go in, though, with your @ by the way, and you can change it. I don't know how many times you can change it, but you can change your @ and you can change it to something, like if you want to get it more original than what you named it at one time. But I mean, that's been their way to try to cut down on all of the theft. And it was bad, by the way. It was. And you have just bot farms that have been flooding every social media platform. So that's why it changed like that, by the way. Now, as far as membership, I have no idea why it's being stupid, I hope they fix that. Thank you, though, for noting that too. And I hope that does answer the issue with it. I think it's annoying when they change, but at the same time, it's understandable. They're desperate, and as creators, we were throwing fits about it. We've been throwing fits for God, I think I've been throwing a fit for a year about it, or maybe longer, just to be honest. I think a lot of you remember the bots that came in that were trying to run adult links and stuff in our chats. It's just bad. But here we go. So I'm hoping to find a new way to heat, she said, solar, and we'll figure it out. But for right now, we do it the way we do it. Thank you and God bless. Okay. So $6,000. We need some way to heat these little puppies up and so on. Now, as far as interview too, I'm not going to play the thing because these people get strike weird about it, but I am going to pull the transcript for it, and I'll show you where it comes from. So you had Michael Volpe drop an article talking about how they're going after, essentially, I get the feeling that they want to try to sue every lawyer. This is why I say, why would any lawyer want to pick up with these people? Because every lawyer that comes in, sooner or later, they're going to have an expiration date on their usefulness. And when they're no longer useful, they don't get the outcome that they want. It's character assassination. So there is about what is it? Give me 1 second, I'll tell you. There is about 7 minutes of interview that's attached to this, and we'll look at it right here. Like I said, if these weren't some false flag and weirdos, we'd actually play it too, but that's something to look at later on. It's funny because the very things that would help them get their word out too, they false flag down, so good luck with that. But they do an interview, they're talking about the polymob. So Volpe comes in and he's like, oh, right, this is Michael Volpe. Michael Volpe investigates. I'm here with Michelle Preston. Michelle, I'd like to ask you a few questions about the protective order. Temporary protective order. They don't put that in there, by the way, because they did not actually have a protective order. They had what the state gives you every time you apply for one. They give you temporary while the case is being heard. Now, they let the temporary one last for a long, long time because, well, they don't care about your constitutional rights. But hey, I digress. So they ask them, in particular, they want to ask about the representation. I'll get the word right, man. Representation you had with Josh Silverman. So, first question for Lynette Preston here. If you were going to rate Mr. Josh Silverman's representation of you, how would you rate it? And why would you give it that rating? 1 to 10, Lynette says, it would probably be a 3. A 3. That's right. So they secure no pay whatsoever. They managed to get out of something. They secure payment, and yet they managed, or rather, secure no payment, and yet they think that's a 3 out of 10. Why? Because again, they had such a terrible. You got to remember, the Judge Grudge just got knocked down. Now, also, let me point something out too. All right. Melissa also put up a wonderful thing as well. This article is going to talk about how, essentially they want to play like they don't understand what happened. And let me show you this real quick. So we do have, by the way, the videos of those hearings, and again, this will be small, but I will still read it to you. I realize it is small on there, but the answer is what we're focusing on. Okay. So she's asked, do you understand what you're about to get involved in here today? It's informal mediation, but your attorneys have apparently reached out to each other, and I want to encourage that more than anything. I think it's important that you both have say-so in what happens to this case. If you decide your say-so ends when I get the evidence, I'm going to follow the law. I'll be fair. I promise you that. But you may not like what I rule on. This is an opportunity for you to have a say-so, both of you right now. I encourage you both. I encourage you to do that. I think this is a judge talking, of course. I think those are the types of agreements, and attorneys will probably bear this out, that they are usually the most successful because you had say so in it. And I want to encourage you to go into this with the right attitude. You promise me you use your best faith, good faith. You try to resolve this amicably and try to have this work so we can let you go back to your own lives again. Now, LP is like, absolutely. Then she's like, I would want to hear at an appropriate time on the cost issues, just an amount of cost. Ms. Preston, you're under oath. We're not going to discuss what you and I have talked about privately. That's privilege. But you hear me announce to the court that we are prepared to announce a voluntary dismissal without prejudice. So you can see them discussing again. You can see it switch over, discuss the voluntary prejudice, which means that it can be refiled in the future on the same facts if necessary. I'm not saying you're going to do that. I'm not saying you're not. Just to make sure the record, you understand what that means. Do you understand what a dismissal without prejudice means? Yes, she says. Having discussed the matter with me, do you wish to formally announce on the record a follow-up in writing, voluntary dismissal of the cause of action without prejudice? Yes, she said. And do you understand that once I do that, temporary injunction will automatically go away? All pending motions and everything else related to the case disappears. Yes. So you can see her, again, she made it very clear. Yes, I do understand this. So when she's blaming them, saying that she didn't understand what's happening, that's absolute garbage. Now, the reason I mention that right now while we're going over this is because this 3 out of 10 score, she agreed to it. This is her lawyer, So it's fascinating to come back and to throw him under the bus after the fact, like he didn't represent you in the best possible way. It's just, it amazes me when I see that. So now, why so low? She asked. Because of what he did at the end. Okay, all right, go ahead. He didn't take it seriously, for one. He didn't take it seriously, huh? So at the end, Michelle Preston is saying about him that he didn't take her hearing seriously. At the end, last hearing, he slipped out. Wait, he slipped out? What? The judge was coming in a matter of minutes, couple 1, 2, 3, and he slipped out because Mr. Shockett came and got him. They walked out together. We had a game plan. We were going ahead with the protective order. He came back, and in less than 2.5 to 3 minutes, if that, to make a decision, he said, I think we need to end this right now here today. I think you need to dismiss it. And I think you need to let Bruce handle it, Mr. Manskin. If he's going to do a lawsuit or something, he can handle it. And I stood there going, So you see the way that, again, this is Lynette saying that on that day, well, we had a game plan. We were going to go ahead. We were going to hit it. And then, well, after they talked about things, He was like, I think we should dismiss it. Yeah, he essentially secured you a way where you didn't have to pay any money for all of those hearings, all of that madness, and especially considering the things that had happened with the judge grudge. She got off very easily and does not comprehend. She doesn't comprehend what kind of win Silverman got for that. I mean, that is a hell of a win. Again, they're attacking him because, well, they also, you've got to remember this too. Just like with Sean, Bruce in the past, he came up and he said that these guys, they won't communicate rather with him. They just stopped talking to him. And it went from these are the greatest lawyers ever to we need to sue them. Isn't that interesting how that all changed up? Now, you know, and now these are lawyers, by the way, that were paid for. You know, Sean Martin was paid too, apparently. Now, I don't know anything about payment, anything at all about that, but they were talking about it last night yet again. Did he get paid? Oh, yeah. You know, and they were talking about it on different days as well. And of course, you should get paid. It is he was given a pretty terrible hand in the Ohio protective order. Bruce has a lot to do with it. We saw them leaking emails with it, all kinds of crazy pointed at Sean. But Sean gave them the best advice that they've ever been given. Shut up. You know, shut up and let me handle it. You know, let the lawyer handle it, which they, of course, they didn't, you know. So anyway, she says that she was told to let Bruce, like if he's going to go through a lawsuit or something, he can handle it. And I stood there going, and the judge came back in and I just shook my head, okay, and said, okay. I felt totally abandoned. Totally pressured. See, this is a garbage excuse, by the way. She was totally fine with it before. And you remember, that's your lawyer, no matter what anybody says. Like here's the thing. I've had lawyers before, you know. I definitely have had lawyers. And lawyers will tell you things you don't want to hear. They will. They will tell you things that you think is the worst thing ever because you want whatever, you know, you want a total win, total vindication. You want to make people pay, but that's not reality. A good lawyer knows when you have that chance and they give you advice that you don't want sometimes. Been there, done that, taken advice that I did not want at all. Man, Liz, thank you. That's wild. Thank you. I appreciate it, especially with oh Lord. We went to the Wally yesterday, as the little one said. She asked for 2 things for Christmas. Now I'll give her some other stuff as well, but I found her a TV, which was not bad. I found a 50-inch with that wasn't some crap brand for $178 plus. You know, I usually won't go in for a long time warranty because it's you know, it's usually just a stick up job. But when you have a little one that's around it, oh yeah, she's definitely going to get a 3-year warranty on that sucker. So yeah, with tax and everything comes in. But what was really horrifying about the Walmart thing wasn't that. It was the fact that Walmart without the TV cost $300. And the amount of food that was in that buggy was not, it's troubling when you go through and you get, you know, shampoo, conditioner, other things like, you know, like myself and one of the kids, we have to have something without aluminum, you know, in the deodorants and all of that, or we break out badly. I have to have unscented Tide with the kids too, or one of them breaks out. So, you know, I mean, it's wild. But I couldn't believe that. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate that is what I'm saying. You know, not asking for anything, just saying, you know, I do appreciate it for sure. It was a mind-shocking day. But let's see. So she continues after, okay, I felt totally bound. I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what the heck to say or do. Okay, so then you get okay, so you filed for a protective order. What were some of the things that you can remember that Jeremy Hales did that you felt warranted that you needed a protective order? Duh. I thought he needed a protective order because of all the drive-bys, all of the filming us. That's wild. Again, these are people, like this whole ecosystem lies, incredibly lies about things that transpire. They will tell people that, reality, what you just saw, I've seen in the middle of a live stream, them just turn around and start denying something that happened in the live stream. It's the wildest thing I've ever seen. But they gaslight audiences to that degree. Like I said, it's the wildest thing. So of course, I would want film of everything that transpired. Especially if someone ever pulled a pew pew on me, I would want some kind of record of what that person did, because ultimately, when you go forward, what happens if something else happens? So heck yeah, I would record everything. But they say there were the threats we were getting, threats in form of texts, emails. There was a kidnapping threat about HG. That came from ThAT. So they're blaming, look, DJ Radis. They said in an interview that DJ Radis threatened to kidnap their child. No shit. DJ Raz, I hope you like that one. They, wow, man. Wow. You were going, they straight up said that, that's a heck of an accusation there. This is somebody, by the way, where are her receipts exactly? That is a very, very good question. I would love to hear that call. She said that they were getting them in forms of text messages and emails. I would love to see that one, Lynette. Post it for me, please. I'd love to see that. And you realize that you pointed at DJ Radis and you just said that he sent a kidnapping threat. That is wild, isn't it? That blows my mind. Yes, exactly. Like, here's another one. Why would the cops not be called? That were the case. Indeed, if you had a specific person and he said, I am going to kidnap, not something that's ambiguous, but that's pretty cut and dry when you're accusing someone of that. By the way, so something interesting has come up with DJ Radis. DJ Radis had apparently, you can check out, he had talked about this. He apparently contacted the school where Lips works. Now, I am in no way, shape, or form advocating for people to contact any job or anything else. I've never advocated for that. When I talk about this, I am simply talking about what comes up with that. But apparently he did, and he talked about all of the crazy things that she has done. And what I thought about that with two things. I thought, well, number one, do they still want to stick with the accusation that they know 100% that Jeremy Hales was the person that supposedly contacted in the beginning? Was there a contact, number one? Number two, do they really want to stick with saying for sure that it was a Jeremy Hales? And number three, apparently it was reported that the credentialing or whatever that was on the website had been taken down for her. So I don't know what exactly that means. I also, it could mean, again, that a person was removed from there. It could also mean that they just removed those details. I'm not sure. What I would say with this, however, is that, again, these people, what they always try to do is they try to attribute, like, it's fascinating that she went after DJ Radis. She did a few times, not one time, but a few times. he himself, as an individual, he has a problem with that. But they're like, oh, look at these people over here. The people I'm in a lawsuit with. Look, they did X, Y, or Z. No. But she did post all about it. So I'm giving you some updates. But it's fascinating that they all seem to be targeting DJ Radis because, with the craziest accusations, you can understand why Radis might not be the person that likes them that much. Maybe he doesn't enjoy the fact that they accuse him of some crazy stuff. But she's like, I think I don't know how to say his name, the Australian guy. So again, they say straight up that his name was attached to that. I mean, that's nuts, right? Why would you put that up there? Why would you say this in an interview? But she's like, there were all kinds of things. And then Hales made many, many comments on videos. He made a comment that the whole town hated me and was going to lynch me. Lynch me? I don't remember a lynching comment, but okay. I would love to see all of these reposted, by the way. I would enjoy that. He made a comment about how he's going to dig an 8-foot hole and dump me in it. Again, do you have a recording of that? Why wasn't that produced in any of the protective order items? Why was that not? We actually went through, again, we went through everything that she presented as evidence in her court hearing. We had Megan do a wonderful deep dive where she pulled up. She said she had hundreds of pages. That's what Lynette said. And she was talking about what she had originally given to the courts with the original protective order. So we went through all of that. And the stuff that she provided did not cover any of that. And like somebody just said, she also, she's getting those type of statements, and she didn't go to the police over myriad threats she's saying that she had, threats to end her. She didn't go and talk about all of these emails and all of this other stuff. That's something. Okay. Post it. He also made another comment. He was going to get all of his family members to stand across the street from AK-47s aimed at my property. Man, that is definitely one way to try to spin that, isn't it? I swear. I love the spin to certain statements. These people, they talk about popping someone in the head and feeding them to alligators with old Cook, behind things. And they're like, that wasn't real. But then they get something stated as definitely not that, the way that they want to put it together. And they're like, oh, that's what that means. It's very interesting. That's what got me the order. That's what got me the order. You had a temporary, you idiots. You didn't have a restraining order. You do understand that, right? You understand that you never got an order. You were in a hearing. While this was being heard, you had a temporary order. But you were never given a restraining order, ever. Again, it's a temporary thing. The only thing is, because of your awful judge, which again, an appeals court said was awful and should have removed himself, and has to remove himself from every case we see, by the way. You notice every time he's been removed from anything else involving her or Hales, he'll have to be removed from any hearing, period, involving anything related to her. Anything. I would ask I would say anything that even remotely involves any of them. If they tried to bring a lawsuit and they tried to put anyone else in, if you had any of them, they're even remotely involved, I would be like, yeah, this guy needs to recuse himself because it is tied to these people. That's how bad it was. So it wasn't you got an order. You got a temporary order that should have lasted at most for weeks. Instead, you got months. It is such an egregious thing. It's amazing. Okay, I showed that. I had printed out the thumbnails. And when I showed that to the judge said, ma'am, is there a video that goes with this? I said, yes. He said, can you play it for the court right now? And I said, I'd have to play it on my phone, but yes. And he goes, how are you going to play it? I said, I'm going to go to his videos. Huh. And I went to his videos and I played it for the judge. And that was that. He gave me the temporary. Yeah. Oh, again, that's one definite way to spin this. Oh my God. Such idiots. I mean, these people again. This should be an interesting one to see commentary on. I hope Hales they talk about this because this is so dumb. This is so dumb. But all right, based on a threat the Hales made in a video, and you alluded to it. I think the hearing you're referring to happened September the 14th of last year, September 2024. So what do you remember that hearing again? Explain what happened that day in which hearing? The hearing that Josh represented you in. It was supposed to be a permanent order. I was supposed to be getting a permanent. So look at this. Look at how they mess around here for people. So she says all of this stuff, and he's like, yeah, I think all this happened in that here. Wait, you're not talking about hearings with all this statement. You're talking about the end, the very end of things when the permanent discussion that ended up getting the eject button on it. Now, again, I am amazed to see the discussion here. Hales did the right thing in pushing the button, getting this out of his life, because ultimately he got an end to something that had been going on a long time. I'm sure that it probably took a hot minute to decide on that too. I am, because you see Jeremy does not, you want to win. You want to win like overwhelmingly, not just with a dismissal, but you want to crush people. I understand that. I think that way myself, but this was the best way to win. You've seen the deck loaded against him with a terrible judge. You saw all of that. And just being able to, he got a solid win with appeals court removing the Thomases. And then after that, Silverman knew that they were screwed. But you never know how something can go. So the best case scenario is just to get that away and then to sue. And that's exactly the way that Hales went. And that case, by the way, it's gone, it's paused right now, but anybody that's looking at the federal case, you'd be deceiving yourself in saying that it's going in any way, shape, or form Lynette's way. I mean, Lynette's in a bad way from that case currently. Bad freaking way. She's having a lot of problems. One second, I gotta clear my throat. Just give me 1 minute right here. Oh, sorry about that. The weather change here is awful. So you have to excuse me. I have to clear my throat a few times, I think. But they wanted to, again, the last hearing that Josh represented you in, It was supposed to be my permanent order. I was supposed to be getting a permanent protected order against Jeremy Hales. And instead, just Shockett walked up. And he just said, "Can I speak to you outside?" And he walked away. Josh walked away. I don't know what happened. I don't know if there were threats. Are you fucking kidding me, people? Look at this stuff. Look at this spin. Again, she's like, well, you know what they're alluding to with this, too? They're like, I don't know if there were threats. You know, I'm not saying there were, but I'm not saying there weren't. Oh, my God. I mean, you have conferences between lawyers. That is typical. It is typical. And if Randy you don't think if Randy Shockett walked up and he was trying to threaten your lawyer, you don't think that they would report that? I mean, are you kidding me right now? Of course, they would report that 100%. They would not let a lawyer get away with walking up and threatening him in a court. That never would happen. And you've listened to Randy. You've seen him. You've also noticed he believes in presenting stuff in a professional manner to the degree that he treated Bruce. When Bruce was acting the fool, he still treated Bruce with respect. I mean, it's crazy. Look at what had to happen until, like, finally he was like, "Hey, we need something to handle this crazy dude." But I mean, look what Bruce was allowed. So to say that he's somehow not professional, you have to be kidding me, man. These people are freaking loons. Oh my God, dude. They make my brain hurt. They really do. They make my brain hurt with this. All right, let's continue there. Okay, so I don't know if there were threats. I don't have any idea what happened. But when he came back, he just looked at me and he said, "The judge is going to be here in a few minutes, and I think you need to dismiss this. I think you need to let Bruce handle it if he's going to do some lawsuit or some kind of case in a federal court." Now, the judge walked in right at that moment, and Silverman told the judge we were dismissing it. He didn't do something that he was supposed to release me from being able to be sanctioned or be in trouble or something like that. And he didn't do that. So this is them complaining. This is why they're mad about it too. They're mad that Jeremy was able to sue them. Jeremy would have never, ever given away his rights to sue them for what they did. That is some clown show stupid, you know? That absolutely is. Yeah, I like that. Well, they made a good point. He said, I'll gladly pay you for the lawyer today. Never mind the bankruptcy. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Never mind the fact that we are in the middle of bankruptcy, and we told you that all of us would be filing bankruptcy, by the way. Never mind that, right? Never mind that at all. We'll definitely pay you back the money, the thousands, wink, wink. Oh, that blows my mind, man. That blows my freaking mind. But like, right. And now Hales is suing you in part for you dropping the protective order, right? Uh-huh. Now he's suing you because you have brought multiple cases. And if you want to get technical about it, Lynette, you love to state that this is somehow those. So who else do you blame? Do you blame Stark? Do you blame Bruce? Because you know Bruce had a hand in the two state cases. Fed 1, Bruce walked out on you. I mean, he just hit the eject button and you're standing by yourself in that case. That will start up sooner or later. And that is going to be one heck of a show there, too. The sign thing is going to be a really interesting one that you're going to have to try to work around there. But you don't blame Bruce, but you blame Silverman. You blame Sean. You blame Stark, right? You just can't say that, right? Because you can't say Stark. If you say Stark, you look like a total piece of garbage, right? So you're like, I can't say that out loud, but you do blame Stark, right? Curious, because that's you notice they're not blaming anyone like Bruce about dropping the 2 cases there, so they have to be blaming someone. And you know that they're, again, are they even going to approach the Fed case? Are they even going to look at how bad that's going for them? Lord. But anyway, she said this lawsuit says yes, and that's what you're referring to. That and that's something you wouldn't have known as a layman, right? Exactly. I had no idea. And I called Mr. Silverman's office after that, asking why I'm being sanctioned. Wait, why am I being sanctioned? How are you being sanctioned for the protective order? I would love to understand that, by the way. In what way do you think you're being sanctioned for that? You're being sued for it, but you're not being sanctioned for it. Sanctions are something that the court itself does, just to point that out. Oh my God, this is amazing stuff. You understand why I love this shit show, right? I mean, you guys do understand that, right? Well, I can't not. It's just amazing. I'm not even going to have time to cover all the insanity that happened last night on the Fat Show. We're probably not even going to have time to even hit all that. But, oh my God. Again, Jeremy Hales for this sucks for him. But he could have been facing off with some competent people, but he's not. He's facing off with people that decide that they're going to sue their prior lawyers that got them out of the shit. But she calls and asks, why am I being sanctioned? What did you not do? Not one response. I've called several times. Not one response. So Silverman, she's like, Silverman ghosted me after that. You know why Silverman ghosted you guys too? Because of Bruce as well. Because Bruce made it clear. We saw the communications with Sean Martin. He leaked some of them. And can you imagine being somebody dealing with that? I'd be like, hell to the no, I'm not dealing with you people. You can keep that. He doesn't have to communicate anymore. If it's not tied to the litigation that he got you out of, he's like, man, I'm out of here. But that just shows you, when they talked about how it's Jeremy, remember them making statements that it's Jeremy's Hales' fault that they can't get lawyers? You remember that? Oh, he's poisoned the well. Yeah, I don't think it's Hales. I don't feel like I'm going out on a limb and saying that. Again, if you're attacking people where they eat, if you're going after them, like Sean Martin, again, I heard something interesting. Again, they can clarify this, but I heard something interesting, not from Sean, by the way. He will not talk about this stuff at all. He will not. So just to note that. But I heard that a certain somebody tried reaching out several times to people around him as well to try to poison that well. A certain somebody that, well, I'm not surprised by. Any comment on that too? But let's continue. But all right. And then that day, did the judge also say that he hoped not to see any of these proceedings on YouTube? Those proceedings put on YouTube immediately. Were they put on YouTube by you? No. Were they put on YouTube by Jeremy Hales? And since then, by the way, it's funny. because yes, I actually have those proceedings myself. I have them right now. But here's the thing. These people have lied about those proceedings so much that you have to be able to refer back to proceedings to say, this is what happened there. Because otherwise, they just lie about them. They flagrantly lie about what happened in court. You can go back and you'll be like, that wasn't said. This didn't happen. And it's amazing. It's also amazing that there are so many suckers still sitting around listening to these morons and taking it serious. When again, you have actual court hearings. You know, they have been shown multiple times. I'm sure tomorrow I'll talk to Megan and see exactly what she wants. I think going over this might be fun. We'll see what she wants to do. You know, we'll see. But oh my God, man. Let's see. It's just so crazy, you know. But let's see. Called where they put on by you. And since then, is that something he's referred to a lot? Thank you. And nothing happened to Hales as a result of violating. I don't know if it's an order, but the verbal statements made by the judge, right? Right? What? What the fuck are you talking about? Violating what exactly? Are you kidding me? So you know what's really funny though? You have John Cook tell this moron, the same moron that's interviewing here, about a protective order that is in place. That the judge said, I don't want to hear you talking about this. I don't want you posting it. He notes that in their interview. That's not a problem, right? But they try to pretend that something being dropped. And we have every right to see those proceedings, by the way. The fuck you say we don't. We have every right. We, as the public, are the bosses of these people. Judges. Why do you think that we have cameras that are around? Why do you think that you're allowed to sit in a courtroom? Otherwise, if now again, there are some situations where they're closed off. But barring those, what do you think we're allowed to? It's supposed to be transparent. What happens there? So I have every right. Now, I saw the Judge Grudge didn't want us to be able to look at what happened in his court either. Well, ultimately, I don't care because I have every right to see what happens in courtroom. You know, again, any judge that asks me not to, if they were, and again, I'm not saying they did in this, but I'm just saying if they do, and there's not, it's not one of these very narrowly tailored issues or incidents where you're talking about, like I said, it's very narrowly tailored. But if it's not in that, then they have no right to note that. In fact, it sets off warning bells. So the reason in Ohio they ask that is because we are talking about a protective order hearing that was granted. And even with that, we have been allowed to listen to specific items and discuss them. And they, of course, they felt totally in the right about discussing. They just don't like discussing something. They like to lie too. You know, last night they were talking about how, and I kid you not, they were talking about on the 2Ls about how the 10 feet videos, that the judge didn't even watch them. Didn't watch them. And John Cook had the audacity to say, yeah, that's what happened. She didn't even watch. She just took Hale's word. That's not what happened. It's in the decision that they leaked. So they have access to this. They know exactly what it says, and they're still lying about what it says. It's amazing. It blows my mind sometimes. But anyway, so, right. Nothing's happened. He blatantly ignores it. He ignores everything that they say not to do. Right. All right. Anything you'd like to add? No. Okay. Now, on top of this, they did an article going after this judge as well, you know, and well, not just going after the judge, but going after the attorney, going after it's really aimed at trying to take Silverman down. That's what all of this is supposed to be about. Look at this here. Florida attorneys' unethical cowardice. They're talking about, again, Silverman calling him an unethical coward. Now, whose mouthpiece? You little puppets, by the way. We know exactly who said this over and over again, but apparently he's gotten somebody to flap their gums and pretend that this is their novel idea. It blows my mind. But unethical cowardice causes heartache and polyflop in Hales' case. They are still trying to push the polyflop. I love it. I think it's so stupid. Everybody out there is like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And they're like, yeah, the polyflop. Oh my God. You got to admit that's pretty amazing. They cannot take no for an answer when it comes to the polyflop. They think that somehow in some way that works out for them. Did they sell the support dog? I don't know what happened to the support dog. That would actually be a good question, Lynette. I would love to have an answer to that if you all are posting, because there's been a lot of speculation about your support dog too. Like what happened to it? It's still there because you just stopped talking about it and you didn't claim it in any of your stuff, in any of your filings. So people have speculated about it for sure. So that would also be one that I think would be a good question, you know, when that comes up. I would love to know about that, 100%. Man, by the way, I appreciate you folks being here. You all are the best. You really are, So I appreciate you all being here. I just want to say that, as we go through this, this stuff is amazing to cover. I enjoy it. But again, ultimately, we are talking about something that gives someone at the end of the day, they don't have to talk about it every single day and the craziness that is aimed at them. They can run their own. 1 second here. Man, somebody's writing some crazy. What the shit? That's a good one. Maybe next show I'll cover the threats that are coming in now. That's a wild one. That's a weird threat. You're gonna skin what now? These people, man, they write some of the craziest shit I've ever seen. You better shut up about that or else blah blah. I'm like, well, okay, that's definitely proving your innocence. I'm glad. I'm glad you all aren't just totally insane. Oh my God. I do have to say, like, these people, they don't know when to stop. For real. They never figure out when to stop because they have in some way, shape, or form. We've had a bunch of these morons. And again, I'm not saying LPJC or them specifically, but I'm saying a lot of these morons that get involved, they have tried to run people off with threats, with some crazy ones sometimes. And yeah, I'm going to say, what's the nicest way I can say this? Screw you. These people don't intimidate anything. I swear. I found more intimidating crap sorting through the cushions of my grandmother's couch. What are you talking about? Weirdos. Anyway, let's continue. Sorry, I got distracted for a minute. I was reading something coming in. I was like, what in the what now? You threatening to do what again? Okay, anyway. But they're talking about, look, Florida attorney Josh Silverman sold out his client last year and left her to fend for herself against Jeremy Hales. So again, this is all, what's funny is they keep talking about suing more people and going after more and winning more cases. Isn't that what polyflop is? You know, isn't that what the whole idea is supposed to be about? How you multiply proceedings? I mean, it's kind of strange how they come out there and they tell you, you know, we're going to sue more people, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. By the way, that guy's responsible for multiplying proceedings. It's like, wait a minute. I mean, am I understanding that right? Because your spin's missing a few spokes on it. But anyway, so note in the podcast above a short interview with Michelle Preston about Josh Silverman and the events of September the 4th, 2024. So they're talking about it again, you know, with the case and how it goes forward. And you see the decision here. September 2023 commenced legal proceedings. Hales and filing a petition for injunction for protection against stalking in circuit court of 8 Judicial Circuit in and for Levy County. They give the case there, known hereinafter as the stalking case. During the stalking case, Preston pleaded her rights under the 5th Amendment of the United States Constitution to not answer questions about the stalking case because the answers to those questions could incriminate her. I love that little part right there. She pled the 5th. In a case that she brought. She's like, I'm not answering those questions, but ma'am, you brought that. Well, I plead the 5th. You realize like how bad, I don't think I would have put that part in there while I'm trying to defend somebody. I'm just saying. That's some clown car shit right there. Yes, she brought a case against somebody, but she pled the 5th. Yes. Oh my God, that's some good stuff. And that did happen, by the way. If for some reason, even if you haven't, again, we keep talking about we've got to go back and watch that depot. And we do. We very much do. Because that is some of the most amazing video I've ever seen in my life, you know. But they know in that it was dismissed in favor of Hales. So Preston filed a notice of voluntary dismissal right before a hearing on Hales' motion to dismiss the case with prejudice, you know, there. And then they note here, Michelle Preston was pressured to drop her stalking order in Florida attorney Josh Silverman because of Silverman's malfeasance. That's right. They accuse him in this area. You have a footnote essentially. You know, so they accuse him of unethical cowardice. They accuse him of selling out his client. They give a note. So this doesn't count as a statement. This doesn't count as a statement because it's a clip from something. And in their next statement, they accuse him of malfeasance. So you think about that. I mean, with malfeasance, by the way, if you're wondering what that means, that's wrongdoing, especially if you're talking about like a public official, you know. So if you're noting it, it's you got to remember too the roots on that. It's mal. You're accusing them of evil. That's what malfeasance. Feasance is like activity. I believe the end is, I think it's act. You'd have to look it up, but I always remember mal is evil. So I think it's evil activity is how the root word breaks down. So you're accusing them of evil activity, wrongdoing. But again, it's amazing when you think about what they're stating about this guy. So it was September the 4th, 2024, and Michelle Preston had been preparing for weeks. For months, Jeremy Hales had done everything to make her life miserable. He followed her in his car. Look what they're accusing. Following her in his car. Film her. Make threats. Phone calls and more. They're accusing him of following her in his car, filming her, making threats, calling her directly, him doing it, and more. They're saying he did all these things, which is quite insane when you think about it. Preston went to a Florida court to get a restraining order, and things, they didn't go as planned. Initially, the case was assigned to Judge Craig ThATuMBRELLAgUY. She got a restraining order, but Hales didn't stop. That's actually not correct in any way. She got a temporary restraining order, and it was still being heard. Maybe when you're being a jackass, maybe at least try to present something factually. You can be the biggest asshole in the world, but be factual while you're doing it. Ugh. Look at this stuff. Oh, look, letters. Here's letters from Bruce. Wow. We're going to see some letters today, too. Fun times, right? Preston initially pursued the temporary restraining order pro se, but eventually she gets attorney Josh Silverman. Now, throughout, Silverman failed to zealously represent Preston. Again, they think if you don't act like Bruce out here, you don't act just like a freaking wackadoo, that apparently you are not representing, Yeah, I like Patrick. I like that statement. Silverman, this notes here. Thank you for the 10, by the way. I'll kid everybody with super chat. I just saw this. I called it a silver chat because it's about Silverman. I called it a silver chat on accident. That's amazing. But they noted here, Silverman was brought in by the quote-unquote good old boys of Levy County, unquote, to get Thomas's out of hot water when they realized what the judge was in. LMNOP is digging up bones that others in Levy County want buried. Well, he definitely got in some hot water over this case. He had some problems. And, again, we read a crazy document last night. If you didn't go over that with us, you should listen to it because it talks about this idea of qualified immunity. If you think that judges or prosecutors, police officers or more, they play by the same rules you and I do, no. And the level of protection, you may be like, hey, maybe they do need some extra protections in what they do. Okay. But read what they stated about that. Read the defense that Dan Owen put up. And think about that. It's funny too, is the Fats were going over that. And I kept thinking, how many criminals are in the anti-Hales ecosystem? Them defending a prosecutor, it blows my mind. It's hilarious because they'll do anything. Again, they're not pro anything. They're anti-Hales. So let's continue. Here is a letter. Hey, Josh, are you aware that the Levy County Sheriff's Office confiscated your client's phone 4 days ago? What if she has an emergency and can't call 911? You've been paid a lot of money, by the way. Why can't you see your way through to lift a finger here? Why won't you pick up the phone and call me? So here, this is really the problem. Right there. That's the sentence there. This is Bruce writing, saying, oh, man, again, the sheriff's office, remember Dan Owen threw the sheriff's office under the bus. The fun thing about that, too, is, and I will bring these up, and thank you to the person who sent them. I don't know if you want me to note who you are or not, but somebody sent over a bunch of the decisions in the court because I was like, hey, those cases that they mention, why don't they talk about what happened in them? And they're like, oh, well, the prosecutor's office, they did X, Y, or Z. Yeah, the reality of the cases that were brought, there were arrests, but after the arrests, what happens, which is kind of amazing? The follow-through doesn't happen. In fact, they drop those cases like bad habits. They don't prosecute them. Oh, weirdly enough, too, somebody sent me over the 2L wish list from Amazon for their new supposed kids group, and I'm curious, like, why would you need 4 lamps? It's kind of strange. Some of this stuff does not seem, if I were thinking, man, kids are asking for stuff. Yeah, some of this stuff doesn't look like what kids would ask for. But what do I know, right? What do I know? Anyway, so what if she has an emergency, can't get 911? You've been playing a lot of money. Why can't you see your way through to lift a finger here? Why'd you pick up the phone and call me? Hales is in violation of the temporary protective order. Every day since June 28th, he has posted videos brutalizing your client and even calling her to quote unquote experience being art. That is crazy. This right here, by the way, is something that you should clip for sure. For sure, Jeremy, because the spin to that, when you say if somebody false accuses that they should experience the same ramifications, legally, when you accuse somebody and try to get them sent to jail, and you say, hey, they should experience the same ramifications as somebody if they were found guilty. You're not saying that, oh man, I want them to experience ARP. No, you're saying that they need to go to jail. And that's exactly what it was. And they know what they're trying to do there. But again, they always try this kind of stuff. And then here's my letter to YT's counsel. Why don't you go through the court with a... why don't you go to court with a contempt motion? Here's my letter to YouTube's counsel. Where's that letter, by the way? I want to see that. Why don't you post all that stuff? So Hales quickly turned Judge ThATuMBRELLAgUY into a character in the ongoing YouTube neo-reality television. By the way, here's the description of Bruce. Let's not forget that. From an email attorney, Bruce Matskin sent to Silverman pleading for him to zealously represent his client. So Hales quickly turns ThATuMBRELLAgUY into a character in the YouTube neo-reality television drama, referring to him as Judge Grudge. Actually, the Grudge Judge, that I believe that was a name that someone else came up with, if I am not mistaken. I believe that a certain lawyer came up with it. I don't believe that was his creation. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I believe, like I said, a certain lawyer came up with that. Judge ThATuMBRELLAgUY foolishly provided reasons why he should not be recused in an order denying his recusal, and that was enough to force him off the case. He's the greatest judge ever. He was. Wait a minute. He foolishly did this. So he wasn't the greatest. That's amazing. Okay. What an admission there, Oh, look. They, of course, put up Josh Silverman, and they put up his law firm. That way, if they put it in there, that way people, of course, that they want to go and contact and more, that's what they're doing. They're trying to get people to contact. And again, I, in no way, shape, or form, want you doing that. Do not contact anyone. I'm just pointing out they linked it in there in their article because, of course, they did. Absolute lunacy, man. Now, he should have merely denied the order without providing reasons. No, that's not how that would have worked. That is the dumbest thing ever. He wasn't removed because he freaking provided reasons. He was denied because, well, you should go back and just look at it. That's the dumbest simplification. Dumbest in the world. Hales refers to Silverman as Silver Scam, turning him into a character. Oh no. Oh no. Here's screenshots of one of several thumbnails featuring Silverman and Preston. This may be why he was reticent to take decisive action. Oh, okay. So, of course, they're like, oh no, he might be on the YouTube. Oh no. You know what would make him work out? Winning. You probably didn't tell him what you were recruiting them into, though. He actually gets the best outcome possible for these idiots. But they're like, yeah, you know what? He didn't fight tooth and nail. He didn't spend all of this. And again, Do you think you paid him enough to deal with this stupid? Do you think you paid him enough to deal with them? Not with Hales. Not with people covering. Do you think you paid him enough to deal with Bruce and these clowns and Lynette Preston? I mean, honestly, because I don't imagine that he got paid enough. Now, Judge Thomas's was removed, but the case continued. Oh, Judge Davis replaced the Thomases. And they're like, oh, man, here he is. Now, of course, they link also to the 8th Circuit. Now, on September the 4th, Judge Davis held a hearing. Now, Michelle told me she expected her attorney to finally present the evidence she had gathered of the repeated violations of the temporary restraining order by Jeremy Hales. Quote, I was supposed to be getting a permanent protective order, Michelle told me, of what was supposed to happen at the hearing. Yeah, that actually isn't what was quote unquote supposed to happen. That's what you wanted to happen. There's a difference there. Just to note this, by the way. What you want as an outcome isn't what is going to be the outcome. Because if that was going to be the outcome, then you wouldn't have had to have a hearing, right? I mean, that makes sense, yeah. They blow my mind with this stuff. This was supposed to happen. No, it wasn't supposed to happen. It's just what y'all wanted to happen. But anyway, I digress. So, instead, shortly before the hearing started, Silverman, who did not respond to an email for comment, was approached. So here, look, Silverman knows that these people are going after him. Oh my God. I'm sure they probably accused him of some pretty terrible shit in commentary when they're writing him too. Like, again, this is why people don't want to take you on as a client, Michelle. This is honestly, to be honest, this is also why anybody that believed your side of things after they deal with you in the clown car that you drove in with, they start to look in. They're like, well, maybe, maybe dealing with this, if I have to deal with this kind of crazy, this level, then what have these other people dealt with? And they start to perhaps question whether or not you may be the person at fault. It's wild, but I would say if this clown car started aiming at me because I didn't want to do exactly what they wanted, I would probably tell them to go F themselves. That would be my answer. I'm just saying. But instead, shortly before the hearing started, Silverman, who did not respond, was approached by Hales' attorney, Randall Shockett. Now, Shockett and Hales did not respond to an email for comment. Man, I want that email. I want that email. I wonder if I can get a hold of it. Let me see. I wonder if I can get a hold of it. I mean, it's not a protected one. I wonder. Randy, it's my lawyer. So, you know what? Let me see. He is my lawyer. I'm going to write him since he is my lawyer. Hey, Randy, 1 second. I am reading an article where Volpe is attacking Silverman. He mentions that he wrote both you and him. Now, I was wondering if I could get a copy of that because it's probably an entertaining clown car, an entertaining car filled with clowns. Thank you. Yes, I will write. Like I said, with him being my lawyer, I feel like it is okay to write about that. Typically, again, he is representing myself and Megan Fox, Jeremy Hales, We are going after lips, and we are still waiting on. It's crazy. You have to wait on the docket to actually get a place where you can be heard. But oh yeah, I really want that letter. So they didn't reach out. Now the two, Shockett and Silverman, they went outside, and when Silverman returned, he advised Michelle to withdraw the temporary restraining order. He further told her that the judge would enter the court momentarily, and she needed to make the decision quickly. Quote, Silverman, said, the judge is going to be here in a few seconds, and I think you need to dismiss it. Michelle told me. The judge walked in right at that moment, and Silverman told the judge that we're going to dismiss it. The judge congratulated the parties for coming to an agreement, and he warned them not to put it on content as YouTube. Hales ignored that. He posted it. Yeah, we'll watch the we'll watch that and see exactly what was stated there. Now, to make matters worse, Silverman failed to get a release, which would have protected from then being sued by Hales. Silverman tried to defend himself in an email to Manskin. So, where's the rest of the email, by the way? I see a piece of an email. I see a piece of one, but I'm sure this can't be the whole email. Why don't y'all post? You know they like to post pieces of messages, by the way, pieces of items. They don't like to post entire things. I'd love to see what Silverman had to say to Manskin that he doesn't want you to see. So he leaks yet another statement to Manskin. You know, here's the thing, too. Lynette will one day do this to you, man. One day she will leak your messages as well. She will give them to somebody. And if your clowns won't handle that, I definitely will take them from her. And I definitely will publish them. So one day, you remember, you'll get the same treatment. Because every attorney that has ever worked with that person, they've been turned on. And I am ready to see the communications. I'm ready to see how you were recruited into things. I'm ready to see how, or rather you recruited into things, not recruited into. I think you approached yourself, but we'll see. We'll see how all that comes together and exactly what kind of promises were made, because these people seem to think that they're going to make millions and millions, and they're going to be able to sue everyone and do all this crazy shite. And I have the feeling that these statements come from specific people, so it would be interesting. But this is what Silverman stated. As part of the agreement for dismissal of Miss Preston's injunctive petition, Mr. Hales abandoned all matters pending in the case September 4th, 2024. This includes all the 57-105 motions then pending, all claims for fees and costs. Mr. Hales cannot now refile or re-raise any claims pursuant to 57-105 for any conduct occurring on or before September 4th, 2024. So then again, they put in C, blah, blah, blah. This is all on the record, a record which could be yours for the very reasonable price of $35 paid to the... Oh my God. Look at this middle finger. This is hilarious. Look, this is such an asinine response. I like it. This is all on record, a record that could be yours for the reasonable price of $35 paid to the 8th Judicial Circuit Court Reporting Department. You can find information on how to request and pay for the record of those proceedings here. Oh my God. He's like, you don't have to ask me all this, stupid. You could go and read about it yourself for the low cost of $35. You know what else he could do? He could go on the docket and pull it up, and it would be much cheaper than that. But that is hilarious. Oh my God. That you gotta admit, that's gold right there. Yeah, he just laid out the middle finger. He was like, yeah, you know, about you writing me. Why don't you have a little bit of this? Oh, bravo, sir. That's beautiful. While Silverman secured an end to the proceedings, He did not make sure that Hales could not pursue further legal action as a result of his client dismissing the TRO. Yeah, he would have never agreed to that. He would have never agreed to it. He got her out of the problem that was there. That's what his job was, to handle the protective order. That was his job. She can refile it if she wants. She could go for it again. That's 100% in there. But he handled it, and he got her out with no cost incurred as far as the insanity that went on for all that time. And I believe that Hales could have gotten her for cost. You know, she's been promised. Again, she needs to think about all of that. You know, all these promises that are being made to her. She needs to think, why am I filing bankruptcy again? Why am I delaying the courts? If I'm going to get rich, why aren't I getting rich beforehand? You know, because again, I can't say what will happen in Fed 2. I can't say what will happen with any other defendant. We will see. I've said that many times. But what I can say, I feel like with a pretty high degree of certainty, is that there is at least one person that is going to have a real problem in these cases, and that's Lynette Preston. They have gotten to the point where Fed 1 it looks bad for them. If a jury hears what has gone on and some of the stuff that has happened, you know, again, it will be pretty interesting to see all of this laid out. It'll be interesting too to see them try to explain recruitment of felons and more. It will be them saying, "Oh, I didn't do it," and they'll have to, you know, an image in front of them where they made contact. It'll be glorious. Also, you know, there's some stuff that keeps getting left out too, where John Cook actually had contact with Paint Chips, where Paint Chips was talking about wanting to come down to Otter Creek, and John Cook was 100% telling him, "Yeah, come on down here." And I mean, it's hard to deny that this stuff happens, because it most certainly happened, and it has been screenshot. It's wild to see that. Let me see, actually, while all this is pulling up. I'm going to see if I can, while we're talking about it, I'm going to see if I can find that real quick in just a minute. Because those discussions are just, I mean, they're wild when you think about it. Because they're solicitations. It's definite. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Here, look. I'll show you this to you real quick. You know, you have a few, but again, while they're doing all of this, we'll come right back to this in just a second. But while they're doing this, it's really hard to deny that. Is that the right one? This thing's stupid some days. Actually, I think we're gonna have to wait for just a second. It's so low. It's long about loading in, so it'll take it a minute. Let's read, and then I'll show you those in a second. All right. So they say that after the dismissal, Hales created legal proceedings, which he turns into content. As such, in a separate lawsuit filed against Preston and 10 others, he cited her voluntary dismissal of the TRO as malicious prosecution. Absolutely. It was malicious prosecution too. But you think, see, what they're mad about is that it's weird. They blame Silverman for not getting them out of a jam. And the reason for that is he can't fix all of your problems. He can't fix every one of your lawsuits. You knew when you stepped in that arena that you were going to get sued multiple times. You knew it. I mean, Hales told you, and you said that he's litigious. I mean, they've all talked about it, though. They've all talked about it. Wow, they got 6 whole likes. I wonder. I mean, how many check and see how many of those are real people. But not only did Silverman fail to litigate Preston's legitimate TRO, but failed to protect her in the frivolous litigation that is Hales' MO. Man, wow, that's totally. Now, last night too, what was really fun is that the two L's, they got on the Silverman and Josh. Again, you can always tell when something is a talking point for these people, because they all regurgitate it. And one of the things first of all, they want to get $6,000 to $7,000 yet again for Lynette Preston, yet again. But also, they want to look at this. They're talking about suing him. Like I keep saying, they're wanting to sue Silverman, and this is all trying to load the deck. Because here they discuss it. You can see them. They're talking about the attorneys. Okay, what attorneys? Well, three. I mean, two. You've got what is it? You got Sean. Yeah. They talk about Sean, and then they've got Silverman. Oh yeah. Anybody read? Look, this is so hard to understand. What they call Volpe Whelpies. Volpe's article on Josh Silverman. Yeah. I sure did. Silverman left her hanging. Yeah, she definitely has a malpractice thing against him. Yeah. And then right after that, they're like talking about themselves, and they don't get the irony in this. Michelle attacked those that have helped her, and our reward is we're having to defend ourselves in court. Yeah, you're right, Ray. So they're talking about how, oh yeah, they should sue Silverman, by the way, and well, they all attack their advocates. Isn't that strange? But they're talking about money too. They're actually asking about money. And they say, the 6 or 7K. They also said no lawyer can fight a case for 6 or 7K. It takes money. Lawyers charge a lot per hour. That's absolutely true. However, this one lawyer, it was more money, but because of all the evidence, they already there. He just has to walk into court. So he went down on his price, which is what the original pool was for. So it's a different attorney now. So the original attorney, they're telling you that the Ohio PayPal pool was for. The one they raised $1,300. Yeah, that's not the guy they're even talking about, or the woman that they're talking about. That's a different person. But apparently, John has let them know exactly who they're talking about, too. I hope Lynette Preston enjoys all of that, too. I hope she enjoys that. John gabs like a teenage girl talking to 2L about everything that they do. It even says, look, so I can't divulge the name. You guys know why, but I'm just letting you know we're talking. So if anybody does want to help, email me. I mean, John is even willing to take a loan, and he'll pay you back. He just wants to get it over and done with. John's totally going to pay you back, guys. Totally, And they did even look for an attorney just for John, just so they could handle John. But this one actually said he'll get rid of the whole thing. So, I mean, they keep saying he was quite adamant. I like the bulldog in him, He's a pit bull. So apparently they've been in communication with this lawyer. They said they were in communication with the attorney general, by the way. That was interesting to see. And they had been calling the Ohio court. That's right. They had a little story about calling the Ohio court, which was a really fascinating tale. Let me find that real quick. Let's go through the recitation of that. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Yes, they have been calling the court with the protective order, and they brag about it, that they have been harassing them. They're like, oh, the Ohio, well, apparently, try to contact the court. It's turned down real fast, and whatever they're talking about is real rude. Whoever they're talking to, you have to understand in order. She's like, they're like, oh, well, they're pro se. Now again, such a mush mouth. It thinks that says pro sex, all kinds of weird. You should have to figure out what to say. But she's like, oh, Ohio. Yeah. So I called. She knows, I called. So I'm talking like Michelle and John, because they're pros. They don't have an attorney, right? So they have to call Ohio. They're speaking like a clerk or magistrate, and they talk about the phone calls and stuff. And then they're like, well, yeah, we had a call, and it's recorded, right? There's a recording. Well, guess what? That's done because they said that they got hung up on. They had information they were going to turn over. They wanted to find out so they got mad because somebody they thought was rude when they hung up. So they were like, I want to talk to your manager. Send him a copy of it. They went like full-blown Karen, let me talk to your manager. Not everyone takes chicken skin as bribes. I'm just saying. But John Cook is like, oh, no. By the way, they said they've been pushing this idea too. So during the Ohio hearing with the 10-foot video, John Cook is telling people that they did not watch the video. The judge didn't. She just totally took the word of Hales, which again we saw because they leaked it. We saw the order, and that was not the case at all. The judge very much remarked about what was in the videos and their video too. So it's 100%. And they were talking about the Ohio and Walmart and stuff. And they're like, oh, Hales, when he sees them, he confronts them and says 10 feet, 10 feet. Yeah, he has the right to do that. Again, he goes into his store and these jackasses are there. They're not supposed to be around. And most people, they ball up in a corner because honestly, even with a protective order, the person that they have it against, they end up winning in that way. Fear. But Hales, even despite, again, he has to be afraid of these weirdos. I mean, we've had one pop out a pew pew. He pops it out like it's a Pez dispenser. But he still he knows his rights on that. And they're like, no, you can't do that. Oh yeah, you most definitely can tell people to get the fuck away from you. And you're letting the world know too. You're letting everybody that's there know that this person here, you have a protective order against them. If they try some crazy shit, it is on record. So 100%. But they call anyway. And they tell this person, they say, oh, everything was good. Everything was great until they brought up the case number. And I said, I have the case number. He goes, well, the case number, party name. And so I said, Hales, his first name. And with that, I got an attitude from Hale. I'm going to end this call. Saying I just spoke to the other party and they hung up. And I said, really? And I didn't even get the person's name. And I'm like, wow, now this was recorded. So what they're telling you here, by the way, and they say this as part of the transcript, they tell you that the court is being contacted quite a bit. So these people are barrage calling the court. They are harassing the courts, and they're like, well, these people get attitude about it. Yeah, that again, Hales has a protective order, and you people, you're admitting publicly that you have been calling and trying to interfere with it. It's absolutely insane to read and listen to this shit, It is. Well, like who's just calling for information, and what do they do? Especially if you're not a party. Did they give you a name? Did they give you a name? No, they didn't know I was spoken to. I said, okay, that's okay. I'll get the name. I couldn't believe that shit. I'm like, wow, this is being recorded for documentation purposes. And may you have your name, please? Yeah. I couldn't believe it. And I did just that to see if this was true. Like, you got to be kidding me. They were extremely rude. It's so insane, though. It's so freaking insane. And then they tried to blame it on, well, you know what? It's probably because Jeremy, well, He's like there, and he's talked to the mayor and had lunch with him and stuff. So yeah, that's got to be it. That's got to be it. And they talk about the judges, I mean, but they say again, look, they're telling you phone flooding is a thing. Sounds like the court is being bombarded with calls. You know, I can understand that, but you know, I don't think they should treat people like that. So they're telling you, yeah, they have caused the courts to get repeated calls, harassment about it. So bravo. I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that you folks have been harassing the courts and harassing the judge, or trying to get through and interfere. I think that's amazing. You know, I do. I think that's amazing. What in the world? DJ Radis, though, I swear, they're so nuts. Like the stuff they said about him too, man. They're just all nuts. You should, if you want a transcript, if somebody wants me to post it somewhere, I will for you. You know, I'm totally okay with that. I'll post it up for you. But again, you have to remember that AI has problems understanding what the chicken skin eaters actually say. Just understand that. But yes. One second. All right. So I'm going to go through and hit some super chats. We have an hour before Hales. So that's plenty of time for me to actually go through and hit everything. It gives me plenty of time. So Jada, and again, as I noted before too, if you notice your name looks different, that is a anti-scamming precaution that YouTube is trying to take on. You can change your name. But when you change it, come up with something that, you know, you can go through with certain spelling, or, you know, or whatever, and change it, knowing that in the chats and stuff, your name is going to appear different from now on. That is, again, an anti-scamming policy that they've instituted. Not saying you folks are scammers at all, but hopefully it will eliminate the tens of thousands of scammers that we've seen flood every platform. I mean, it's just nuts these days. Jada, thank you for the gifted membership. Thank you. Kicking it off, gifted membership there too. Appreciate that. Helping out the channel and giving someone a gift. That is awesome. MA, thank you as well. I hope you're doing it. Like I said, look at the Muppets. They're so happy. Look at that. Oh, happy. Yeah, it's happy. I love it. Thank you, Emmy. Thank you for the gifted membership. I appreciate that. And again, I'm sure the person that gets it, they do too. Max Lab, what's up, brother? How you doing? Thank you for the super chat there. Appreciate you immensely too. Thank you for everything you can do. Mama, thanks for the vibe. It's my birthday. Heck yeah. You want to hear me sing? All right. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, here we go.
Happy birthday from both of us to you. Happy birthday. May all your dreams come true. Happy birthday. We love to have you here. Happy birthday. Here's to another year.
Great years. Heck yeah. Love to you. Hope you have had a great birthday, by the way. Appreciate you. Fallen Hero. What's up, my friend? How you doing? As always, good to see you. Appreciate you all the time. Always here. Thank you, Fallen Hero. Thank you for that gifted membership. Like I said, helps out the channel and gives to other people. Love it. Thank you. Emma, thank you for the 2. A lurker check-in. Heck yeah. All you lurkers out there too. Love to you. Love to all of you. You know, appreciate the check-in with that. Liz, like I said, 40 months, man. Thank you, Liz. Love to you. Appreciate you as always. You know, and yes, it did change your but I know who you are. You know, absolutely. I know you and your name. So when it comes up, I definitely know who you are. Thank you. Sent 20, and she's noted for some weird reason, YouTube won't allow me to buy memberships. Plus my name has changed. Yeah, the name change, like I said, is I had that policy. But with the members, that's weird. I don't know what's going on with that. But thank you. I appreciate you being here. And again, you know, if you do want to secure a name change, you can think of something just cool and wild. Compound words help too. You know, like that umbrella guy, the way I was able to make sure I could secure it was because it was a compounded word. Maybe it helped that created the account in 2012 too. Now I didn't become active on YouTube until like 2017 or 18, but I had an account since then. So maybe that does help too. This account, I can't believe this account's almost 14 years old, by the way. It's crazy. What's up, Hazel? Thank you for the fun. Their delusion is over the roof. That's right. It's marinated too long in their truth. Yes, and that is a good wording too. You know, not the truth, their truth. That always strikes me when people tell you that they're not talking about the truth. They're talking about their truth. I've got to tell you my truth. No, you just want to know the truth. So that's always a good distinction in that. Rick, what's up, Rick? Thank you for the 14 months. Hey, bug. Yeah, she came in and she was out of here like did you see how fast she ran off too? But I appreciate that. She saw him come up, but she was just like, poof, I'm out of here. So thank you, man. I appreciate that. And Dwayne joined after 5, or I'll have to tell her too. I'll be like, hey, you know what? People, they were saying hi, and I'll read them too as well. Thank you, Dwayne, dude. There's some bug money. Thank you. Also, DeFloofy, I'll have to tell her DeFloofy said hi. Thank you there. DeFloof sends Bug some candy money, so I'll tell her and thank you. You know, we're getting close to ye old Christmas, so that'll be interesting for sure. That'll be fun. She'll like hearing that. North Gas, thanks for the fun there. Speaking of changes, what do you think about X showing the country the account was created in? I like that, to be honest. I do. So Twitter, yes, X. I mean, you call it whichever. I still call them Twitter. It doesn't even have anything. You know, some people do it because Elon. I just do it because I've called it Twitter for decades. So it's hard for me to say X. You know, it just doesn't stick. But on there, I like that it shows where an account is created, because what you're finding out is a lot of accounts from people, you know, especially political accounts, they have been created by people overseas. And I'm not talking like the UK or something. I'm talking about like Nigeria or these other places that you might be like, what's going on with that? But yeah, if you look up my account, you know, for Twitter, for example, it will tell you. This is what they're talking about, by the way. It has an about. So check this out. So with, give me 1 second here. Give me 1 minute. Let me see. So on an account, if you click onto it, it will tell you information about it. You know, it has like here, it tells you the date that you joined in, verification date, and mine was verified under the old Twitter administration of all things. You know, got enough attention in 2022 that they didn't ignore my verification request anymore, and then, you know, it was bought out. But it tells you the account where it's based in. So it tells you now. Again, there can be. You can see I'm based in the US. So obviously you will probably tell that, but there are a lot of scam accounts that this is kind of exposing, again, people that are meddling in social and political elements that have no idea about them. It's just, you know, they found a good way to make money. And I kind of like that, you know, when people are talking about items. And again, they're not just talking about these things, which that's fine, but they're stirring hatred and animosity. And it's amazing because these people that are stirring a lot of it, they're not even from those areas. You know, it's amazing to see people from the outside of a place that have been allowed to pretend that they're spokespeople for political or social movements that they're so far away from, and to again stir up people to hate one another. So I like it. I actually like that. He's thanks for the 6 months there. Love from the Netherlands. Thank you. Appreciate that. So good to listen to you since I'm blind. Thanks for the last. Hey, I appreciate you right here. And I hope it helps. By the way, I know there are people out there that, you have, issues with sight. I've had 2 people contact, and you'd be the third that has talked about being legally blind. And it's one of the reasons I try to read everything that comes up with documents. Now, one of the good things, that's why I also like what Max Lab has talked about doing with having something that reads through a document. That way, when a document comes up, I mean, again, you can secure them as well and go through them. But I like the idea that we can go through and give opinions on something, and you can go through with dry reads. I always like, by the way, and love to you, I like commentary where people have told me, hey, this is a way that you could help out this portion of an audience or that part. I've loved that. I've loved being able to think outside of that proverbial box, and love you. I appreciate you here. But one of the ways that for myself, even just for time saving, if people find that they have any issues with, again, being able to read whatever, they you can take documents and upload them to places like Speechify. I love uploading court documents to Speechify, or transcripts sometimes, depending. Now, if you take the 2L transcripts and you upload them, it's so crazy and chaotic because they're such mush mouths. But the court documents themselves, I love having people like Snoop Dogg read it to me. It's a lot of fun. Love to you. Appreciate you. Team Brittany, what's up, Team Brittany? Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships there. Thank you very much, by the way. Much appreciate you. I love gifted, like I said, gifted memberships is my favorite feature on here because it helps the channel and it gives to other people and it says, hey, you are welcome. So thank you. Yeah, thank you for the 2. I wish I had no pride. I could beg my expenses. Not. Sometimes when we have issues or something, being able to ask for help is fine. These people, what they have done is they've created an entire, well, let's just call it what it is, an ecosystem that it fundraised at the expense of another person. It didn't laugh at them and they're stupid either. That's fine. I think you can laugh at other people and laugh at they're stupid, but they don't. They have done this stuff at the cost and expense of another person's business. It's crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy. Liz, look at that. Hundo. Thank you, Liz. That's amazing there. Breadstick money. That's right. Let's get out the breadstick choo-choo. Chewing. By the way, I've been messing around with, so Grok has an AI feature. And I'm trying to get it where it'll do a picture, it'll do like cut scenes. I've been trying to get it to do a picture of that umbrella guy staring out the window of a train as it drives by, and it looks at like you can see woods outside, but instead of trees, they're breadsticks that are sticking out of the ground. I thought that might be cool to have as an animation. Working on it. Now, I have my favorites, by the way, dropped not 1, but 2 giftos there. Thank you. I have my favorites. That is much appreciated. And again, that hooks up people out there. Thank you. That is very much appreciated. Thank you. Maybe not. Maybe not. What you doing, by the way? It's good to see you. Thank you for dropping those 10 gifted memberships. Appreciate that. Oh, by the way, somebody wrote asking for Muppetizing and maybe a garbage Hales skid. I'm working on yours. One of the things, let's just say AI is becoming harder and harder to make Muppets of anything that looks like a human being. So I'm working on it, but it's taking a minute. William, thank you for the Thank you for the 5 there. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for the lawyer today. Never mind my bankruptcy. I think it was Wimpy who said that. Yeah. I mean, they very much are, you know. That's what John Cook, I mean, his message really is kind of like that. It's, hey, you know, these people are like, oh, man, Lynette, she screwed us over. You know, we've absolutely been ripped off. And John Cook is like, well, I'd pay you with my first lawsuit, you know. But that makes you wonder, you know, how many of these people have gotten involved with the promise of money to come later on and trying to bilk people out of proceeds. See, that's the crazy thing. If you ever can prove, man, they better Bruce, any of you, if you all have done that and made promises to people where people like John Cook thinks that, you know, oh, we can recruit and we can promise them later proceeds. That's a big problem. If that ever gets proven, woo, baby, man. Tracy, thank you for the 5 gifted memberships there. Thank you, Tracy. That is awesome of you and much appreciated. Thank you. Wanda, thanks for the 2. Tug, are you okay? You sound sad. We love you and the kids. I'm tired, and I have been, like I said, I've been dealing with the health things. So it's not sadness as much as just worn out a little bit, you know, with all this, with all the health stuff and doctor appointments and everything else, man, it takes its toll. But I do appreciate that. I'm just tired. It has been what my kids refer to as a lazy day today. I've been trying to do not much. I've also, with the weather changes here, because it went from snowing a week plus ago to being 70 degrees here, you know. So that's a big deal, friends, you know. And we have all the we have all the weather change, but we also have the leaves falling, moisture. It gets mold in the air. Ugh, it makes everyone sick. I've been forced to take Benadryl, you know, at night to deal with it. So, you know, yeah, it just wears you down. But I do appreciate it. No complaints there. I'm just saying. Yeah. Thank you. I do appreciate it. And sometimes also, one of the things before live, now I didn't do this today, but typically, like when we're doing live streams on the regular, I try right before a live stream to get in a power nap. You know, if I can, it definitely helps. So those nights with Megan especially, I definitely try, if I can, like right when I walk in, I'll set an alarm and I will conk out for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, anything to try to reset that clock inside, you know. Wheezy, what's up, Wheezy? How you doing, by the way? Thank you for the gifted membership and love to you, by the way, Wheezy. You know, I appreciate the heck out of you. Hey, Sean, thanks for that. Maybe you should play the LP depot. Yes, that's what we are definitely going to do. You know what we need to do with that, too? I need to take the videos of it and upload it and make an AI transcript out of it. I think that would be really fun, too. You know? Because we haven't transcripted it. I love transcripts. I do. I absolutely love transcripts. They make things a lot more fun to go over, you know? So I thought about turning that into something and playing that way. Weezy Wells, thanks for the 5 there. The dog gave up trying to train Crook and Lynette until he'd impact up his bowl and left. He's like, yeah, I'm out of this sucker. He's like, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Indeed. I love it. I love that idea. That's a happier ending too. Patrick, thanks for the 10 there. Silverman was brought in by the good old boys of Levy County to get Thomas's out of hot water. They realized the judge was in. LMNOP is digging up bones that others in Levy County want buried. Yeah, it really did look bad for a lot of them. And it did bring in a lot of questions about how litigation, law enforcement, and more, they work there. You know, we have seen a lot of, I'm going to say, questionable items from Levy County. Very questionable items, for sure. And I think it did expose a lot. So, yeah, I mean, the cleanup, I do think that certain things they would want to stay buried. I really think that, again, if you have not read, if you didn't watch the live stream yesterday, I really would refer you to, I really want you to look at that Dan Owen response to Jeremy Hales suing, because I really want people to see what these authorities say. You know, ultimately, we can do whatever we want. There are very few things that can keep us from actually, well, doing anything. And throwing Levy County under the bus was fun too. But you should read through it. I mean, if you missed that for some reason, this is the item I'm talking about, by the way. If for some reason you missed it, I'm very much telling you, you need to read it. Give me 1 second. Let me pull it up here. Actually, oh, I opened it on the wrong freaking browser. I was like, where is it? I opened it on the wrong browser. But the item I'm referring to, and again, I'm not saying this to get you to watch a live stream. I'm telling you, you need to read this document, because it's so offensive, by the way, folks, is this item where Dan Owens is telling you, you can't sue me because I got qualified immunity. And part of this, like, I'm not really required by the courts to care about a protective order. I thought that was amazing to read, folks. Like, when you read through this thing and he's telling you, well, when you really break this down, when it talks about having to honor a protective order, when it says law enforcement and it's talking about the courts, it's not talking about me. Like, it's just amazing to look at. Prosecutors, we can do whatever the heck we want. Well, we have this little bitty section. And if you wanted to sue somebody, you should have sued Levy County. The sheriffs, I can't control them. Sue those guys. I mean, it's amazing to see, because that's exactly what this says. He should have sued them. He's suing the wrong people. Sue the cops. And I hope the cops, they enjoy that. And also, oh yeah, it's standard. He can investigate anyone that has a protective order. So fuck a victim. Who cares? Who cares if you're a victim there? I have the right to investigate you. It's so blatant and corrupt, in my opinion. And you should read it. You should make your own judgments about it. But yes, now night. Thanks for the 5 there. Under the utterance of an ass, and they make their way to the service. Bowls, such an appropriate name. He's in over his head, all right. Yeah, well, you know, ultimately, at the end of the day, Bruce is not going to be held accountable for a lot of stuff. He will be held accountable potentially in some lawsuits, but a lot of the stuff that's gone on has been done with Lynette and John Cook being the front people. So if they get in trouble, it's not going to be Bruce holding the bag for those specific items. It would be Lynette and John, and they don't seem to get that. And it'll be fun to check that out too. Sassy, what's up? Thanks for the 10 there. Malfeasance by a lawyer refers to unethical, illegal acts, dishonesty, fraud, mishandling client funds, which violate professional conduct rules and can lead to disciplinary actions. Claiming malpractice, yes, they say they're going to sue over it. They absolutely are. That's what they stated. So yeah, I mean, that's a good note, by the way. It is, because they said, as far as malpractice, they have a case for malpractice. You know, again, you got to think the mouthpieces, they note that a lot. They note, you want to see something funny. Y'all want to see something really funny, by the way, to tell you how illegible the mush mouths are. Look at this. I've never seen this happen. They cough and make so much gross noise. Whoops. Give me 1 second. I want to show you this. All right. I got the wrong thing in there. Here, check this out. The way that they're like, gross. Look, the transcript thought somebody was speaking Chinese. They made so much inappropriate noise that the transcript picked up on it, couldn't differentiate between all the uhs, and coughs and all that, and thought it was Chinese. You gotta admit, that's amazing, right? I've never seen anything like that. That's funny. But malpractice, yeah. They're saying, you know, the lawyers like Sean and you know, malpractice again. Who? Yeah, oh yeah, they've got Josh Silverman. Yep, malpractice against him for sure. So they brought it up multiple times. Yes. I believe that they're trying to gear up. Now, how are they going to afford it? Well, that's a different question, but they're definitely making claims of malpractice, and they legitimately, I think, want to. They want to sue. They're trying to figure out a way to do it. Thanks for the 7 months. That woman LMNOP has probably been blacklisted by lawyers because of BBB being such crazy. Yes, indeed, probably. Hey, kiddo, I hear you coming. What you doing? Hey, by the way, you had a few people that were saying hi to you.
Hi.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see. Let me pull them up. The Floofy Cat said hi earlier. Want to say hi to Floofy Cat?
Hi.
Yeah, there was Floofy. Dwayne Rapp also sent you $5 for that. The Floofy sent you $2 too. And on top of that, Rick here, he was like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Hi.
Yeah,
Hello.
so do what?
I said I wrote the comment.
Oh yeah, you sending some love.
Yeah.
Oh,
Love
that's
all
nice.
your comments that you're doing.
You do.
Me.
You love it?
Yeah.
Me too. I think it's great. All right. So you come down here and give me a hug or what?
Go give you a hug and a kiss.
Oh, thank you. Were you checking on me?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you call me when the pain with movie, and I love you.
Okay. I'll tell you when everything's up there. It's still a couple of hours. Okay. Okay. Love you. Appreciate you. Yeah. Go have fun for a little while.
I love you.
Huh? What?
I love you.
I love you too, baby. You be good, girl. Okay.
Okay.
You've been very, very good today. I appreciate it. Okay. She's such a good kid. She's coming down to check on me just to see if I'm doing okay. Yeah. She always checks on me. That's very nice of her. You know, yeah, exactly. There's a good point right there. You know, Amber Heard also had temporary protective orders too. We see how that goes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Squirrel Nuts, thanks for the 10 there. Appreciate that question. I may have missed something. The Owens response mentioned Cook being arrested for an incident that had nothing to do with Jeremy. How was that relevant? That's a good question. Why would that be relevant? Indeed. They're trying to say that, well, we show no bias toward these two people. Now, like I said, it's a good question why they would bring up something that has nothing to do with them. I think the whole statement is if we had a bias that involved these two people, then why would we arrest them? But really, the accusation of bias isn't just for them, it's against Hales, you know, not enforcing a protective order. It has nothing to do, and maybe it's just a screw up on their part too, you know. So I mean, it is ridiculous. And yeah, you know, what you asked too, why did you even bring that up? I don't know if the attorney, I wonder if that's an error, just to be honest. I wonder if they got confused and brought that up. But yeah, that's actually a very good question. Why bring up something that has nothing to do with Hales when you're talking about bias and not enforcing the protective order and going further, letting these people terrorize this one individual, Jeremy Hales. In fact, could that work against them in saying, well, they would enforce this thing, you know, would they arrest them for the other people? Well, maybe, you know, now, of course, will they ever do anything to those people? That's a good question. They've let them get away with a lot. So, see. And they've talked about, you know, wanting to legally harass more. Oh, we just, you know, if you people out there spot them a few $1,000s, they'll sue all these people and make you rich. Isn't that weird? Isn't that something? So, yeah. I do. Thanks for the 10 there. How stupid can this woman be? She's violated the protective order again. Again. I must stop her once and for all before she can hurt Germany even more. Well, we'll see what they have to say. It is interesting to see her repeatedly going after Hales, repeatedly trying to. What is she trying to say happened in Ohio? I would like this answer too. Lynette, are you trying to accuse Silverman of just being inept? Or are you saying that when the discussion happened between the two lawyers, are you accusing them of something there? Are you making an accusation about, I don't know, bribery or more? What exactly are you trying to say happened within that meeting? You said, I don't know if there are threats or more. What are you saying happened? I'm curious. Like, what are you trying to convey? How are you going to sue the guy? You realize, too, that if a lawyer is an inept fool, that suing them for an outcome that you, like for Josh Silverman, suing him, good luck with that. There's nothing in what he did that will leave you to be able to sue him. I mean, honestly, you agreed. The judge asked you about it. You 100% agreed. You said that you were down with dropping that, and you have the ability to try to go and to resurrect a protective order if you want to. Although I would say if you try to do that again, that it would probably be a problem for you. And that's probably why you haven't done that. Because at the end of the day, if you try to resurrect it yet again, it will look at you. Well, what is that word you like to go? Oh, polymop. That's right. It'll look like polyflop. But yeah, I think that's a good point there for sure. Maybe not. Thanks for the happy birthday. Hey, we got another happy birthday. Let's see. Let's bust out some happy birthday times. Happy birthday. Let's do it.
Happy birthday.
I love
From both of us to you. Happy birthday. May all your dreams come true. Happy birthday. We love to have you here. Happy birthday. Here's to another year.
Thank you, too. Appreciate you. Thank you also. Maybe not for pointing that out as well. Thank you. Sassy, thanks for the 5 months. If you're struggling to get memberships through the app, go to Google and do it. Well, yeah, I'm not sure with the app. That is weird, though, period. But yes, if you're having any problem with that feature, there are maybe workarounds. And again, I don't know why that is there. And thank you all, like I said, for supporting and doing everything. And I wish I had an answer for every problem they have for sure. It's thanks for the Centipats. It looks like I like that. Thanks for the 12 for the early Sunday stream. The only one I can catch because of time difference. I do watch every other stream on replay. Thank you, Tug. You're the best. Hey, well, thank you first of all, and I do understand that. I know that many of you, you're in different time zones. I would roll earlier too. One of the reasons, like I said, the shared days with Megan, those are the only way we could work out a specific time where both of us could be available, because she's available sometimes in the middle of my day, but the girls, I can't do it because of the girls or, whatever we're doing in the daytime. And then when we started, there were all kinds of activities and things, and we just couldn't clear till then. But yeah, I wish we could make them work better for that. But I do like having one day again where we can be a little bit earlier, and it works out. It works out in several ways. So thank you. I appreciate you being here too. Gwen the Ferret, thanks for the 2. What are Lug and Bug's favorite colors? Well, the little one, Bung, she likes yellow. Always. It's always been consistent. And right now, the oldest, it depends. Depends sometimes. She's been on a purple kick right now. Sometimes it's green too. Right now it's purple though, right this moment, And she it's funny, she likes darker colors though. So purple. Like I said, she likes even a darker green. She's been fond of, but I think purple right now would probably be the one that rolls in as she gets older. That happens there. Yeah. Hey, Chance, by the way, thank you for the 2 there. Yeah, if you use a VPN, you can trick country. Yes, indeed, you can do that. I sometimes use a VPN for, depending on what I'm doing online. But that's true. In fact, that's how some of the people that are banned, they get around it. And one of the things, though, that is being pointed out is, some of these accounts that are being exposed, they had no idea that there was a feature that could expose them. So, in the future, I think people will probably go on Twitter and they'll try to hide it better. These folks again, there's Nigerian accounts I saw. I just crazy stuff that I saw a few accounts I was kind of surprised by, in a way, because of how big they are. They're huge political accounts, and yet they're ran by people that they have no connect. They're just reposting content is essentially what it is, and it is crazy. So I agree, though, they're going to get smarter and they're going to dodge for sure. And Moody Nana, what's up? Thanks for the 5 there. I saw the Moody Nana here. Love Sundays, so I can be here real time. Well, I love having you here. I wish, like I said, every day we can make that work out, but I'm hoping there. What's up, Maestro? Thanks for the 2. Have my own issues too. I'm an email away to chat. Yeah, well, I hope that you're doing okay. I hope when you're saying issues, I hope you mean the, I hope that's an issue online. I don't want to wish any issues, but I hope you're not talking about issues like in real life. I hope you're doing okay. Max Lab, thanks for the 2. Please show Hales thumbnail for tonight. I haven't looked at it yet. Let me see. I haven't done my link in yet, so let me check it. I do the, let's see. Let me look at it. 1 minute here. The do's and don'ts. What is up with that? All right, I'll show it to you. Give me a second here. Here's the thumbnail, by the way. That's so on the banks and everything. That's so strange. Let me do a redirect while I'm at it. Let me set this up real fast. It's still not time, but I'm gonna go ahead and set it up since I got this pulled anyway. That is interesting. Here we go. Let's see. Give me a minute. I'm setting up the redirect before we continue real fast. It's still got a little bit of time there. I do. There we go. All right. I'm setting my redirect too. So when we end, you'll be redirected over. But yeah, see that. Thank you, man. Also, Maestro Andre, thanks for the 2 there. Candy money for the little ones. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, the little one she's so funny. She's such a little nut. She cracks me up. Let's see. I also, 1 minute here. I saw 10 came in from Christine. Hey, thank you for that. There is not a statement attached to that. Man, that is a statement in itself. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to. I'm trying to save up a few bucks because this in the next month, something will happen that it happens every year, and I kind of love it. So somewhere in December, you will have Audible. If you like if you like audiobooks, they usually have a site-wide sale, like a huge one. And some books, they go down to a couple of bucks. You know, I went last year, I bought dozens of true crime, or, you know, I like organized crime books. I listen to like books about the mafia and stuff, and I listen to fiction and other items. But I picked up a bunch of books on that for $2 to $4, you know, a book, and that's amazing to be able to roll through. And it kept me busy for a few months, so it was pretty nice. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm saving for that as it comes. But all right, I think we are at that point where we will refer over. Now, one thing I want to note too is I do appreciate you folks. We will be back tomorrow, I'm guessing, with Megan. We will see what exactly the insanity that comes up with it. But appreciate you. I'm going to refer you over to Hales. It's about 18 minutes away. And thank you, folks. Again, I very much appreciate you all.